What is going on, everybody? It's the Frost, and we are for Unscripted number 89 for your October 6th, 2019. The week of premieres is come and gone. Raw, SmackDown, NXT, and the premiere of AEW, all in the books. This has been one hectic week. If you watched all 4 shows, give yourself a pat on the back. It has been a lot of wrestling, and we're going to have this from here into the foreseeable future. We usually do a Raw, SmackDown, NXT for the week, but this week is just way too much to even get into it because of how things went. The biggest thing we need to talk about is that NXT got obliterated. You had Raw NXT go up. This is the first night of the first week of Wednesday Night Wars. NXT, AEW. NXT gets hit hard. NXT hit a 1.1 its first week of 1 hour. Week 2, it hit a 1.0, so a slight decline, which was going to happen anyway. But this week, AEW scored and 1.49 million viewers, and NXT drew an 891,000 viewership. Now, people are saying this is that NXT is... If NXT wasn't there, then WWE didn't put NXT up against AEW, then there would have been then you would have been able to take all 809,000 viewers and add them into AEW, and you would have had a bigger number close to Monday Night Raw standards. And I have to sit there and disagree with everybody. I saw it all over YouTube, all over Twitter on Wednesday. There were pictures of people split screening AEW and NXT. So if NXT wasn't there, the split screen's gone. I would say that NXT might have hit 1.8 at the most. 1.8 to 1.9. I saw many people, even Matt Hardy said he was split screening NXT and AEW at the same time. I saw people have 2 TVs, a laptop or with like one show on it and a TV with the other show on it. You can't sit there and say that AEW would have been in the 2 point whatever off their first show if NXT wasn't there. You cannot say that. It could be possible, but it could also be it might not be possible. It could be that an AEW would have been a little bit higher, but not as high as everyone thinks it is. Now, and the AEW hopefully will only rise up. This could be the first week, it's a brand new show, it's a brand new premiere. The reason NXT was only 891,000 viewers is 2 reasons. 1, AEW is the new kids on the block. 2, if you want to, there's a couple of reasons. Number 2 is the fact that DVR exists, and if you wanted to watch AEW live and NXT later, then you're going to watch NXT later. 3, if you want to watch AEW live and NXT on a Thursday, because as of now, and in the foreseeable future, there is not going to be anything added on Thursday night for wrestling. So either you don't watch wrestling on Thursday, or you have wrestling on Thursdays with NXT. So having AEW be at 1.4 is amazing for them. It's the first week that both shows of NXT have aired on USA Network. Hour 1 of the first week drew 1.179, and ranked 4 in the cable top 150. Hour 1 of the second week drew 1.006 million viewers, and ranked number 8 on the cable top 150. The MLP, and here's another thing that people aren't putting into factor. On a regular basis, Wednesday nights is not going to have anything big. The MLB wildcard game on ESPN topped the night with in the 18 to 49 demographic at viewership of 3.969 million viewers. Chicago Med on NBC topped the night in network TVs at 7.669. If you take the MLB wildcard out, and you could say half of that could have went to NXT and AEW. There's MLB playoffs going on right now. So those numbers might change when MLB's done, and when we get to a portion where NBA, because when the NBA, let's be honest, when the NBA first gets started, the first few months of the year, like October and November, is the beginning of the year. Only the hardcore watch, the casual game player, the casual watchers of basketball don't get invested in the NBA until after Christmas, at least, if not until we get to the playoff push. So the NBA, and definitely not until football is out of the way. And Wednesdays is usually a dead day anyway. Yes, there's games going on, but they're usually like local affiliates are usually Wednesday night games, especially in the beginning of the season. Hockey is not as big as basketball, football, or baseball. So I don't think NBA is going to have that big of a hit on AEW or NXT until we get further into the season. And of course, football is on Thursdays and Sundays and Mondays, so AEW, NXT don't have to worry about that. The biggest thing that we need to worry about, and nobody seems to want to talk about, is that this could be very bad for NXT. If AEW continues to rise and NXT continues to fall, there's going to be one or two things that happen. One, Vince McMahon will be like, well, pal, I gave you a chance, and I got to take over now. And we have Vince McMahon doing everything, which people are saying Vince McMahon is going to kill the mystique of NXT. The mystique of NXT has been killed since they came to the USA Network. NXT has been praised for their long-term story booking, their long-term storytelling. We have not seen any of that at all in this entire 3-week run on the USA Network. It's all about big matches, big moves, and just popping the crowd and just trying to pull you in instead of taking you on the ride to War Games. We have seen none of that outside of maybe Imperium and Kushida. Other than that, we have not seen anything when it comes to what is a staple in NXT. This past Wednesday, there was no reason to have three title matches. You had 3 title matches, 3 titles defended. You didn't need all 3 of those. In fact, you could have saved each one of those and moved them on one week after another. You could have had Shayna Baszler versus Candice LeRae this week. You could have had the NXT Championship this week. You could have had the NXT Cruiserweight Championship the week after that. And then the same night that the AEW Tag Team titles will be decided, you could put the Street Profits versus the Undisputed Era on NXT to counteract that. And another thing we talked about on, I believe it was Thursday, is that another thing with AEW coming out and getting that huge statement win against NXT, embarrassing Vince McMahon's decision. And anybody thinks that this was something Triple H wanted. He wanted to do this war. He wanted to battle up against AEW. No. This is a Vince McMahon move, and it tells you that Vince McMahon does not care about NXT when you take it and you rush to get this decision and get this show on USA Network 2 weeks before AEW. And on the fact that the series was in its season finale, and all of a sudden, 2 weeks before AEW starts, we're having USA Network get NXT. If this was a decision that was to be made and something that was agreed upon by Vince McMahon and Triple H, they would have done this months ago, weeks ago, even 2 years ago. Back when you had the Four Horsewomen, when you had Finn Balor, when you had Kevin Owens, when you had all this NXT in its golden era, that would have been like, okay, they're going to the USA Network. They fucking deserve it because they have kicked ass, took names, and have been a force on the WWE Network, and they deserve to be on TV for at least an hour every single week. And it probably would have stayed at 1 hour had it gone to the USA Network. Having Triple H come out and say, oh, this has been the works for so long, I call bullshit. There was no talks of NXT coming to the USA Network. Hell, the talks were NXT going to FS1, which would have been a massive mistake. You see that 891,000 viewers for NXT this week? That would have been half of that for FS1 if NXT went to FS1. AEW would have blew NXT out of the water, even more than they already have. This week's WWE viewership Monday Night Raw season premiere drew at 2.571 viewers, which is up from last week's 2.2, and the best red brand since the Pro SummerSlam edition of August 12th, which drew 2.792 million. So, Yes, and we'll talk about SmackDown here in a minute and why I think it's just an aberration and not going to be something you're going to be seeing on a weekly basis. AEW got the attention of WWE with this landslide victory in the first week. AEW on TNT premiered this week on Wednesday on the USA and against the NXT on the USA Network. It was previously reported earlier in the case seemed to suggest ratings victory for AEW. WWE sent Wrestling Inc. the following statement regarding the AEW premiere, congratulating the organization for a successful debut while noting this is a marathon, not a one-night sprint. They said, and I quote, "Congratulations to AEW on a successful premiere. The real winners of Wednesday's head-to-head telecast on the USA Network telecast of Network on USA and AEW on TNT are the fans. That is the 110% truth. There is the only people in this entire thing that are winners are us, are the fans." Because that is 4 hours of wrestling that you can watch at your leisure, especially if you have a DVR, which most cable providers have nowadays. You get PlayStation Vue, they have a DVR. You get Hulu Plus, I believe they have DVR. YouTube TV have a DVR. Dish, DirecTV, any of the other cable, Comcast, all of them have DVRs. So basically, if you want to watch one and then the other, you are the real winners because both shows gave you excellent TV. Yes, NXT had the better show because they're the more established brand. This was AEW's first live TV show on TNT in a 2-hour format. They had some restrictions because yes, it is a 2-hour format, not a pay-per-view where it's off the script, it's unscripted, it's whatever you want to call it. So AEW's got some things to work on that I'm sure they'll learn as they go ahead. NXT gave you what was quintessentially a mini takeover, and it came to bite them in the ass. I said it last week. They need to learn that less is more. And honestly, that bit them in the ass. I hope Triple H has learned the lesson that building a mini takeover was not necessary. Building a mini takeover did not help in the end for that show. And you can't do that every single week, and he knows it, I know it, and you know it. NXT will have to go back to the drawing board to see what they can do to combat this next week. We do know that Drew Gulak will be defending the NXT Cruiserweight Championship against Leo Rush and Volta versus Kushida, 1-on-1. More, and we'll probably get more tease for Tegan Nox, who will be making her NXT return soon. I'm predicting for Kushida and Volta that this is not going to end in a clear-cut finish. If we even have a half of what Tyler Bate and Volta did at Takeover NXT UK Takeover Cardiff, that should be a fantastic match. But I have a feeling Imperium's going to get involved, and we're going to have somebody come down to help Kushida, and this is leading to War Games. It's going to be Kushida and 3 guys that I don't know who they're going to be yet versus Volta and Imperium. That's what I'm going with. Adam Cole and the Undisputed Era are not going to be in War Games this year, and quite honestly, I think they're going to be relieved of that after being in the last 2 War Games, all 4 members. So that is my prediction on that. What do we have for AEW on TNT this coming Wednesday? We have Jericho and Sammy Guevara versus Dustin Rhodes and Hangman Page. Private Party versus the Young Bucks. And what else we have? Oh yeah, Jon Moxley versus Shawn Spears, and so much more most likely. All I know is we have 2 great shows coming up for you on Wednesday nights. Honestly, this is my opinion. Monday Night Raw, SmackDown Live could be canceled tomorrow, and we fans would still win out in the end because we have NXT and AEW. The only reason that NXT was put on Wednesdays nights to go head-to-head with AEW is because AEW and Vince McMahon cannot let AEW hit that 2.0 in its opening week. Could you imagine if AEW would have came out with a 2.0 or higher? No, they would not have had, like I said, the 891,000 viewers, I guarantee you a portion of those were watching both shows. So sitting there and saying, oh, well, 891,000. If NXT was still on the WWE Network and taped and could be watched later, everyone who watched NXT would be watching AEW. From what I've seen and what I looked at, it looked like a lot of people were watching both. So honestly, the 1.409 probably would have went up to 1.8 at the most, in my opinion. It wouldn't have gone up to 2.210, something like that. Hold on. Yeah, 2.210. Yeah, 2.210. Like, that wouldn't have been the number at all. We have ourselves a war. Now, the question is, can NXT get the ratings to go up, or could AEW keep the ratings from going down? Will this be if people don't seem to realize this, the early Monday Night Wars between WWE, the Monday Night Wars between WWF and Monday Nitro were back and forth. Week one, like, you would have 2-week streak for WWF, then a 2-week streak for WCW, and it just kept going back and forth until Hogan turned heel and got the ratings to go up on WCW Nitro for about 82 weeks. Will we see that happen in NXT and AEW? I highly doubt it. Who knows? We have a lot going on, especially with the return of Tommaso Ciampa and Finn Balor on NXT, and Jake Hager making his AEW debut. What is he going to do for this new faction with Jericho, Sammy Guevara, and Santana and Ortiz? I said it on YouTube. I said it on Twitter when someone posted. I think it was AEW posted a picture of it. Sammy Guevara is the unknown in that entire faction. You have Jericho, you have Jake Hager, you have Santana, Ortiz, and then you have Sammy Guevara. Sammy Guevara has got to be sitting there in his hotel room after AEW this past Wednesday and was probably like, I just hit the fucking lottery in my life, because a lot of people in this world don't know who Sammy Guevara is, what he's all about, how good could he be, how good is he, and now he is mixing it up with Chris Jericho, Santana, Ortiz, and Jake Hager. Nothing else in this guy's career could even come close to matching what he's going to be able to do. He's going to be a fucking star, and these 4 guys are going to help this guy become one of the best in AEW in all of the world. Before we get to the SmackDown ratings, we do want to talk about some other wrestling business coming up. The NWA, the National Wrestling Alliance, which has been around since like 1905 or 1951 or whenever it was. For the longest time, it was a governing body of multiple promotions, multiple territories. It was the overseer of all the territories, from the AWA to the Worldwide Wrestling Federation, WWF, Georgia Championship Wrestling, WCW, ECW at one time, even TNA, when it got started, all got their start being members of the NWA. Well, the NWA has been on its last leg for so many years, and in 2017, Billy Corgan bought the rights to the NWA and have changed it from a governing body to its own promotion. The National Wrestling Alliance, which I don't even know if it's called that anymore, it's just NWA, announces its own weekly TV show starting this Tuesday. With WWE, AEW, and Impact each starting new TV deals, it was only fitting one of the oldest pro wrestling organizations joined in on the fun. Billy Corgan's National Wrestling Alliance announced a weekly television show that will be taking place on Tuesday nights, dubbed NWA Power. The program will be shown at 6:05 Eastern Time worldwide starting October 8th on the NWA's Facebook and YouTube channel. Corgan made the announcement via a press conference at the Hard Rock Cafe in Atlanta, Georgia. The Smashing Pumpkins star purchased the NWA in 2017 and has made strides to bring back the brand to prominence. So far, he has brought back the Crockett Cup and reintroduced the NWA Women's Tag Team and National Championships to the world. He has also gave the NWA World Heavyweight Champion a prominent spot at All Out, where Nick Aldis defended his title in a losing effort to Cody Rhodes. This returns to its roots in the National Wrestling Alliance, with studio wrestling is being made widely available for all great wrestling fans at the same time. The NWA announced via press release you can watch this show with no restrictions, no paywalls, watch with other NWA fans during live premiere every Tuesday at 6:05 Eastern. It was previously announced that the NWA would be hosting their first set of tapings on Monday, September 30th and Tuesday, October 1st in Atlanta, Georgia. Courtney discussed the need for NWA to produce their own program, especially in today's wrestling scene. He said, and I quote, it's one thing to say you're rebooting the NWA, it's another thing to run matches on someone else's stage. We're very grateful to those that shared their stage with us, most recently Ring of Honor, which was an incredible opportunity, but now it's our time to step forward, and it's time to bring NWA back into the spotlight and run on its own oxygen. So we're very excited to announce that in October, in Atlanta, we'll be doing our own television again. If you can't watch the live stream, the live premiere, it will be shown available on demand via Fight TV every Saturday night. The organization also announced its pay-per-view return to Atlanta on December 14th. That is great. It's another place for people to go wrestle. Here's my thing about this. The more places that are open for people to go and be a professional wrestler, the better it is for fans. James Storm's going to be in this show. Colt Cabana's going to be a part of this. Nick Aldis. The former Damian Sandow, Aaron Stevens is going to be on there. Homicide is going to be on there. I believe he's on that show. I've seen the spoilers. Just wanted to see who was all in the NWA because I'm just like, this would just be like Defiant Wrestling when they were What Culture Pro Wrestling. I didn't know half the people who were going to be on that show. I watched it for Jay Lethal because Jay Lethal I'm a fan of. I know who James Storm is. He's one of my favorites from Impact Wrestling who is not in WWE or All Elite Wrestling. Colt Cabana is a legend in the independent promotions. Aaron Stevens, Aaron Stevens, Aaron Rex in Impact Wrestling, Damian Sandow, WWE. The Midnight Rock and Roll Express are going to be in there as well. Just going to be interesting to see what they can do. If there's place, it's WWE has spent the last few years trying to cripple the wrestling business so that everybody comes to their place. But then AEW was formed. And Impact Wrestling is doing the best wrestling they have done in a while. And now you have the NWA, which is no longer a governing body, but their own entity itself, coming into the fold. You have MLW, who does Being Sports and on YouTube every Monday before Raw. Impact Wrestling coming to Tuesday nights. It's all good things, and the wrestling business cannot be in a better place than it is now. Here's the great thing. You don't have to watch WWE if you don't want to. If you don't want to watch Raw, SmackDown, NXT, and you want to watch AEW, maybe you want to watch the NWA Power because James Storm is on there. Maybe you're a fan of James Storm and you want to know what he's up to. Check out NWA Power. Eli Drake is in NWA. Colt Cabana as well. Nick Aldis. If you're fans of those who are going to be in the NWA Power, check it out. It's not going to be on normal TV. It's going to be on YouTube where you can watch it. Great for them. I can't wait to see it. I am going to check it out. I'm not going to review it because I already have enough to go over. But that is that. CM Punk. My bad. CM Punk confirms talks with Fox for backstage show. For WWE backstage show. CM Punk appeared on Collider Live to promote his new horror movie, Girl on the Third Floor. Punk discussed being a fan of the genre and also talked about comics and comic book movies. Eventually, the conversation turned to pro wrestling. Punk was asked about the reports he tried out for the new backstage studio show on FS1, which he confirmed. Yeah, I did it, Punk said. I'm very much in a position where come talk to me. I'm open to anything, before adding that it does not necessarily include wrestling. If they come up with me, we want you to wrestle, I'll say, I'm not interested. Punk noted that he's changed since his last stint with WWE, which ended with a lot of bad blood in 2014. I've grown so much as a person, and I look back at all the stuff, and I don't need it. I don't need the confrontation, I don't need the drama. But I am a businessman. I'm also put my morals and my integrity above business deals. He said while he puts his morals above business, he will be open to the right deal. If you want me to do anything, well, okay, come talk to me, but don't waste my time. Which if you're coming to Punk about a deal that it's going to waste his time, why are you even coming to CM Punk? Why are you coming to anybody for a deal that's going to waste their time? That's just kind of counterproductive. Punk admitted that he doesn't have any specifics or numbers in mind regarding what the right deal might be. He noted that his agents contacted him about trying out, and he knew that Fox spent a lot of money for the new WWE rights deal. Punk originally thought that the billions that Fox was spending was for the whole WWE package, and was surprised to learn it was just for SmackDown. He said that with all the money that Fox is spending on WWE, they're looking at trying things different. Ratings are still dipping, and that's been happening for 20 plus years. Trust me, I'm not saying that it's because I'm not there or anything. Like, when I was there and I was on top, Raw was doing a 3.8, and I was getting blamed for it. Like, that's a bad rating. How would they fucking kill to have a 3.8? On a weekly basis, are you kidding me? WWE would kill for a 3.8 for Raw and SmackDown. My agents just called me, and Fox is throwing everything at this because they spend a lot of money in this, and they're all in to make it work. Originally, I thought it was was a WWE thing, so I was like, meh, no. But then they said this is Fox. Punk said that he is not dealing with WWE. He noted that if he was to do the job, he would have called it down the line, but he would not pretend like something isn't bad if it is. I'm not dealing with anybody in WWE, which has been reported. They explained to me what it is and what I love, and I love Renee Young. Renee Young is a great person. She's Canadian, so obviously she's super over the top, nice and friendly. I prefaced it with, guys, I'm not going to come in and dump all over stuff just to dump on it. That's old Phil, but if it's bad, I'm not going to be able to pretend it's anything but bad. So they want to present it like it's a real sport and just have a show that recaps stuff just like they do with the NFL, just like the NHL Network would do with their hockey games and stuff like that. That's where we are with that. Regarding anyone from WWE has reached out to him since the Triumph Punk joke, no, I'm the boogeyman. Yeah, so this doesn't mean CM Punk's getting the job. People saying it's a done deal. We will find out if CM Punk is going to be on there. Honestly, if CM Punk is going to be a part of the backstage, I don't think he's going to be there every single week. It's like talking about doing like a panel of 5 talking. And in my opinion, if they're going to do something like that, it would be a revolving door of guests. You would have Renee Young and Booker T host it. 1 week, Phil Brooks is there. Next week, Kathy Kelly's there. Next week after that, Rey Mysterio is there. Maybe John Cena's there 1 week. Maybe maybe Paul Heyman's there 1 week. Maybe Eric Bischoff. Just revolving door of personalities. So that's why they had multiple people try out, and Phil Brooks, CM Punk was one of them. Will it be a major deal if CM Punk is on this Fox backstage? Yes, I can't say it's not going to be. Will it be a major game changer? Will it matter to the ratings of Raw, SmackDown, or NXT? Hell no. What I would find funny is if the FS1 show had better ratings than Monday Night Raw or NXT or even SmackDown in the coming future. That would be absolutely hilarious. Triple H recently talked about the WWE Cruiserweight division possibly blending in with the NXT and having the Cruiserweight Championship moved under the NXT brand. That change went into effect this week as the WWE Cruiserweight Championship has been rebranded as the NXT Cruiserweight Championship on WWE.com. So, slow and steady baby steps. They still need to move 205 Live away from the post-SmackDown crowd because, quite honestly, this post-SmackDown crowd just wants to go home. They saw SmackDown. SmackDown has just been complete garbage. They had to sit through garbage for 2 hours, plus the the pre-matches that they did before. So when you see and then WWE with their trying to be sly and everything, stay so you can watch Shinsuke Nakamura versus AJ Styles, or you can watch Bray Wyatt versus Seth Rollins. It doesn't work. Now, I've been hearing a lot before we move on here. I've been hearing a lot of people talk about the opening package to SmackDown Live, to Friday Night SmackDown this week. You saw Sasha Banks, Becky Lynch, Seth Rollins, The Fiend. You saw Bray Wyatt, not The Fiend, but you saw Bray Wyatt, The Undertaker. You saw a lot of superstars who, without the wildcard rule, aren't part of SmackDown. It's called an opening, and they're like, that means these guys are going to be on SmackDown. WWE spoiling draft picks. It's called an opening video package. That shit could be changed like that. The opening video package and the superstars you saw on the opening video package will be different in 2 weeks' time. When the draft is done and over with, and the 14th has come, superstars that are on Raw, if they were in that video package, will not be there. There were superstars officially on SmackDown who were in the Raw video package, but nobody talks about that because it flashed over. It was a faster. They flashed through it a lot faster. So yeah, when the 18th comes around, if the person's on SmackDown, you'll see him in the video package. If they're on Raw, you'll see him in the Raw video package. People are making a big deal. It's like, oh, WWE spoiling draft picks. Oh, really now? Sasha Banks and Becky Lynch were both in the opening for SmackDown. How could that be when they're both Raw superstars and going for the Women's Championship at Hell in a Cell? So, I'm just going to have to tell you that you guys got to calm it down. We'll be to the SmackDown rating. I got to talk about this. Jeff Hardy. I've been a fan of Jeff Hardy for about 15 years now. Maybe more than that. About 15, 16, 17 years right now. This guy just cannot stay out of trouble. Jeff Hardy was arrested on Thursday in Moore County, North Carolina, according to Pro Wrestling Insiders. Hardy was charged with driving while impaired. Moore County police confirmed that Hardy was released from custody at 11:30 p.m. on Thursday night. They declined to give additional details citing the ongoing investigation. This arrest comes after Hardy was arrested for public intoxication and impairment in Myrtle Beach in mid-July. Jeff is currently out of action for WWE, recovering from knee surgery that he underwent in May. It was reported that he would be out of action for 6 to 9 months. So Jeff could possibly be back before the end of this year, and he does this. Jeff Hardy and the Usos are in the same boat. They just cannot stop screwing up. How long is WWE going to put up with this shit? If it isn't Jimmy or Jay or Jeff, it's going to be somebody else. And then, what are you going to do? What is WWE going to do? They haven't even put out a statement on this one, probably because Jeff is inactive. And they really don't have anything else that they can do about it right now. But how long is it going to be until WWE finally starts taking action instead of just saying, oh, this person's is in charge of their own actions? What are they going to do if Jeff Hardy, Jimmy or Jay get behind the wheel drunk as ever, impaired, and they hit somebody and either A, kill themselves, kill somebody in the drivers who they're driving with, like Jimmy was with Naomi the night that he got arrested the one time, or they kill somebody who's either in another car or walking on the street. Action needs to be taken. This is utter ridiculousness. Jeff is probably a worse offender than the Usos because he's had so much history with drug and alcohol abuse. Anybody remember? What was it? Victory. What was that? Anybody remember 2011 the world title match against Sting at, I think it was Victory Road, whatever that TNA pay-per-view was, where he came out blitzed out of his mind. I'm a fan of Jeff Hardy, but this guy's got to stop. How hard is it to... Uber's a thing. I'm pretty sure there's a thing. I'm sure you can get an Uber in South Carolina. Oh, I'm sorry, North Carolina. I'm sure you can get somebody. You have friends. Call somebody up to give you a ride. Don't do this shit, because if you get caught intoxicated again, you could be in jail. We don't need this to be happening to us, to anybody. These guys are human beings. They make mistakes, I understand. But this isn't a mistake anymore. This is, how many times has Jeff Hardy been arrested for something like this? Jimmy does it, Jay does it, Jeff does it. And then Jeff Hardy will come back from his injury in a couple months and nothing will happen. At least WWE took the Usos off TV for months because of what happened with the I think it was Jimmy again, right after Raw reunion. It's just time for WWE to start. Jeff Hardy's supposed to be down 6 to 9 months. You have him come back, wrestle one match, get squashed, and then suspend him for 60 days. And have him go to rehab. These guys need to get their minds right. Jeff has, 3 girls? And he's still going out there getting intoxicated and getting arrested? What kind of example are you setting for your daughters, Jeff? This is unacceptable. You might not be doing any, like, painkillers or anything anymore, but you have 3 girls who look up to you, dude. You need to grow the hell up and start setting a better example for them. I don't care how fucking good alcohol tastes. I don't give a fuck if it's pumpkin spice, rainbow, or whatever. Don't give a fuck. You have 3 girls to look after. And what is it going to be if you go out there, get drunk, get behind the wheel, and you end up 6 feet under because you're acting like a fucking idiot? Get the alcohol out of your life. Your kids and your wife should mean more to you than a fucking couple drinks with your friends. Or a couple of drinks with random fans. Enough of it, dude. Go talk to DDP. Go talk to whoever you have to fucking talk to. But it's time to let the alcohol go. No excuse for this. WWE, you need to take action. I don't give a shit if you have to fire the guy. This is no way to put an example for your superstars. The Usos do it, and you let them get away with it. You put them in a tag team title opportunity before you took them off TV because you had no choice because they couldn't go to SummerSlam because of recent arrests. Yes, if you have a criminal record, it's almost impossible to get into Canada. Jeff Hardy he's and here's another thing. Jeff will come back and the fans will love him no matter what. Because we have so much respect because of how talented he is in the ring. And he's going out there and trying to, I don't know what he's trying to do, but he's going to end up hurting somebody or himself because he can't put the bottle down. You want to drink at home? Fine, drink at home. But don't be going out and getting, if you're outside of your house, you don't touch a single drop of alcohol. You have 3 daughters to look after, and you have a wife to take care of. They don't need to wonder, is Daddy going to come home? Is Daddy going to be okay? Is Daddy going to be? Are we going to see Daddy again because he ended up T-boning himself into a light pole and ending up in the hospital? We don't need to see that. Jeff's been lucky. He's been lucky. I don't want to hear. And about a month or so now, Jeff Hardy has passed away from a vehicular crash while driving intoxicated. I don't want to see that, and I know you don't want to see it either. Jeff, get it together, man. You're better than this, and you know it. SmackDown drew its biggest number, and I don't know how long. This week's WWE SmackDown premiere on Fox, and the 20th anniversary episode, which... shit, I didn't know it was the 20th anniversary until halfway through the show when Snickers gave us a clip show of past SmackDown moments. You know, it was the Fox season premiere, and it was supposed to be the 20th anniversary of SmackDown, but it did not get treated like the 20th anniversary of SmackDown. Raw 25 was treated like the 25th anniversary of Monday Night Raw. SmackDown didn't get that same luxury here. They had one clip show, and that was it. Drew a 3.869 million viewers. They peaked at 4 in the first 15 minutes of the show. Gee, who was out there in the first 15 minutes of the show? Oh, that's right, The Rock. And then they just went down from there. For some reason, I don't know why SmackDown doesn't get, because I know it's only 2 hours, but I don't know why we don't get a first and second hour comparison to see what if the ratings dipped or went up. Like Raw, we get the first, second, and third hour. Why don't we get that for the 2 hours for SmackDown? It was at 84% from last week's 2.099 million viewers in the final USA Network episode. To compare, Monday Night Raw season premiere drew an average of 2.571 million viewers, up from last week's 2.210 million viewers. SmackDown won the night and coveted 18 to 49 demo, averaging 1.35 ratings over 2 hours. The closest number to SmackDown for the demo was a Y50, which was at a 0.7 rating for the 18 to 49 adults. Yes, so here's the thing. SmackDown is not going to keep this number. You had The Rock. You advertised The Rock. You advertised Stone Cold Steve Austin. You advertised The Undertaker. Do you know what people were looking for on this show? The Undertaker and Stone Cold Steve Austin. It's come out recently, earlier on Saturday, that The Undertaker was told he wasn't needed. So WWE falsely advertised The Undertaker. for SmackDown. They falsely advertised Stone Cold Steve Austin. That's why people tuned in. When The Rock was there, people watched. I guarantee you that rating dipped. Because what you got after The Rock was just underwhelming after underwhelming after underwhelming after underwhelming. And then the main event, with that 7-second squash of Kofi Kingston, making Kofi Kingston, proving I have been one of the most critical people of Kofi Kingston's entire title reign. And WWE, in 7 seconds, proved me right. Kofi Kingston was not a good WWE champion. Kofi Kingston was a joke as a WWE champion. He never took a single title opponent, an opponent serious whatsoever. Even in his final interview before he went up against Brock Lesnar, he's sitting there with Aaron Andrews in the New Day, joking around. Oh, it's just a new day. We're New Day. Oh, I'm the underdog. I'm always the underdog. I'm gonna go in there, climb the mountain, and win this match. And you made Kofi Kingston look like an absolute fool. I told you. He didn't take anything serious. Stuffing pancakes in between him and the WWE Championship, that's gone. I hope somebody takes that championship and washes that thing off. Because it's been stained with Kofi Kingston's title reign. And it is over, and it's never going to happen again. Kofi Kingston will never be WWE Champion again. And you know it, and I know it. Kofi Kingston's done, and we're just going to have to move on. And of course, it was so dumb. You had it end in 7 seconds. You had Cain Velasquez come out, and there was like 5 minutes left in the show. 5-6 minutes left in the show after Kofi Kingston got beat in 7 seconds. And the brawl between Cain Velasquez and Brock Lesnar lasted about 10 seconds. And then they just killed time over and over and over again by having Brock Lesnar tease, going back in the ring, walking away, going back in the ring, walking away. You could not give us a 5-minute Kofi Kingston-Brock Lesnar match where, here's how I would have booked it, which would have made Kofi Kingston feel like he tried to win. Brock Lesnar goes to scoop up Kofi. Kofi gets off. Kofi hits 1 Trouble in Paradise. Brock doesn't go down. 2 Trouble in Paradise. Brock doesn't go down. 3 Trouble in Paradise. Brock is down. 1, 2, kick out. Kofi gets up. He's going for a 4th Trouble in Paradise. Brock Lesnar picks him up. F5, 1, 2, 3, Kofi loses the championship. You know, that would have been a hell of a lot better for a championship match. Brock eats 3 Trouble in Paradises, stays down for a 2 3/4, gets up, F5, 1, 2, 3. Would it have been that hard? And gee, that took up about 5 minutes. That took up about 3-4 minutes. The Cain Velasquez thing could have still happened, and you would have still had time. Why they booked 7 seconds really punked Kofi Kingston out. I've been critical of Kofi, but even I don't think he should have been punked out like that. That did Kofi completely dirty, and it sucks because Kofi, and it sucks for people who are fans of Kofi because you do realize that Kofi Kingston will never be WWE Champion again. And him losing in 7 seconds also tells me that Vince McMahon couldn't wait to take that title off of Kofi. Kofi Kingston held that title for way too long, and Vince McMahon could not wait to take that championship off of Kofi Kingston. And he did. He took it off of him, and Kofi Kingston is no longer champion, and he will never win that championship again. He's going to be back to tag team title purgatory for the rest of his career. But hey, Kofi Kingston said that when he retires and his time is up, that hey, I won the WWE Championship and held it for 180 days, having it from SummerSlam, from WrestleMania till October. That is something a lot of guys don't get to do. I mean, hell, Seth Rollins won the Universal Championship at WrestleMania and only held it until Extreme Rules. Yes, I know he won it back a month later, but still, the only person who still has the championship since WrestleMania of the 3 is Becky Lynch. And look at that. Well, moving on here, the Mae Young Classic will make its return in November or December. WWE's NXT ticket website is advertising the Mae Young Classic will be returning for tapings on November 2nd and 3rd. At Full Sail live in Winter Park, Florida. As of this writing, tickets have not been gone on sale. So that is going to be the Friday and the first Friday and Saturday of the month. Of course, Halloween is on Thursday this year because that is going to be Crown Fools in you know where, and of course the first and second is going to be Friday and Saturday. This will be the third year of all-women's tournament, as WWE has held two previous in 2018 and 17. Kairi Sane defeated Shayna Baszler in the first one, and then Toni Storm won the second one by beating Io Shirai. Back in August, Triple H confirmed the Mae Young Classic would be returning this year, just a bit later than usual. Of course, I mean, it's October. We would have had the Mae Young Classic already. The bandwidth of sometimes things happening when you talk about just around the corner, as we are coming into the middle of August, just around the corner, we're talking about massive shifts to Fox and massive shifts with Raw, with USA Network, and all of that. Trying to ramp up for all of it and how that all works. Triple H says, you've heard it said, I've said it here before, that when one piece shifts, it's like dominoes, right? It moves everything in our business, and it's absolutely that way. So when you shift to Fox, it changes everything about SmackDown as a brand and where it goes and how it's routine and everything. It shifts Raw a little bit. It moves all pieces, so there's a lot of prep that's happening to that. A little bit of this year, some stuff got pushed to a little bit later in the year. That's in this year in the planning stages, just because of bandwidth of trying to get it all done, all in the right period of time. There's a ton of things happening all at once, and then after that you're shifting into Fox and USA shifts. Real epic events in them in themselves. There's so much planning that's going around, so some of this just got delayed until a little bit later in the year, but there will be announcements around Mae Young Classic and everything coming up soon. And of course this was in August, so Triple H had no idea NXT was going to be moving to the USA Network. Nobody knew that USA Network was getting NXT. Mae Young Classic coming in. I can't wait to see what happens. I reviewed last year's Mae Young Classic. I think it was a pretty good tournament. I wonder what they're going to get, who they're going to get this year. It's going to be really interesting. I fully expect to see like Chelsea Green in there, Deonna Purrazzo most likely. I think she was an alternative this last year. So I don't know who on the independents they're going to be able to get, because I don't see many women being free to be able to work the Mae Young Classic. Let me know in the comment section below who you think WWE should bring in for the MYC. Cain Velasquez made his debut on Friday. Why? Because WWE wants a fight between Cain Velasquez and Brock Lesnar. The storyline is that Cain was brought to WWE by Rey Mysterio following the attack on Raw season premiere that saw Lesnar destroy Rey and his Dominic. Was I the only one when Rey Mysterio came out, thought for a second it was Dominic, and was like, I literally was like, oh, he shaved his head. And then the guy pulled his shirt off, and I'm like, that's not Dominic. And it was like, that's Cain Velasquez. I'm like, oh, shit. Cain previously defeated Brock Lesnar in UFC heavyweight title fight 9 years ago in 2010, and WWE plans to build off that fight between the two big men. Cain remains under contract to UFC and has recently expressed interest in fighting again. Despite those comments, it looks like Cain is done with MMA. And an update, MMA Junkie reports that Cain has made a decision to move on from his MMA to focus on his pro wrestling career. Cain has reportedly informed UFC officials of his intention to withdraw from the USADA USA anti-doping agency testing pool, which would effectively retires him from active MMA competition. Despite Cain's WWE debut on SmackDown, ESPN reports that he does not have an official contract signed with WWE. According to Cain himself, it was also noted that he is not officially retired from the UFC yet, but that would likely come after the USADA withdrawal mentioned above. As noted, Cain has done talks with AEW, WWE, New Japan, and AAA. Cain Velasquez, which I've heard people saying Velasquez, and it's like, that's not how you pronounce his name. It's Velasquez. Velasquez. Get it fucking right. He expects to undergo knee surgery before making any commitment to a pro wrestling promotion. He appeared at SmackDown with a brace on his knee. ESPN noted that Velasquez, who has been training full-time with Pro Wrestling Revolution in San Jose, has been working while suffering from multiple torn ligaments in his left knee. That injury occurred during his Cain's knockout loss to Francis Ngannou at Phoenix in February of this year, which was his first fight in a few years. Before that, Kane's last UFC fight came in July of 2016, a win over Travis Brown at 200. It was noted at MMAfighting.com by Dave Meltzer that Velasquez versus Lesnar will likely take place at Crown Jewel on October 31st in Saudi Arabia at WrestleMania 36 on April 5th, 2020 in Tampa, Florida. Here's the thing, it's going to either happen at Crown Jewel or he's going to go get his surgery and we won't see him again until later on at WrestleMania time. I really don't give a shit about this match. If I was a UFC enthusiast, I would want to see this in the Octagon. I really don't care about this. I've heard that Cain Velasquez is more of a wrestler than an MMA fighter trying to wrestle, like an MMA fighter like Brock Lesnar, or like a fighter in a wrestling world. He actually tries to do, in AAA, he was wearing a luchador mask. He was doing MMA, he was doing like luchador stuff. Probably a hell of a guy in the wrestling ring. I really don't care about this match. If you care about this match, let me know, but quite honestly, I don't care. This is probably a way for, if it happens at Crown Jewel, this is probably a way for WWE to help Brock Lesnar get his win back by having him beat Cain Velasquez. But honestly, I don't know, and I really, really don't care. Crown Jewel, I'm not going to watch. WrestleMania, of course I'm going to watch, unless I'm 6 feet under, I'm going to be watching WrestleMania next year. I'm hoping that the pirate ship becomes the entranceway, because quite honestly, if Kairi Sane does not interact with that pirate ship, then WWE is doing a disservice to WrestleMania. Former Impact star expected to be in NXT soon. Impact Wrestling former Knockout Scarlett Bordeaux is expected to appear in NXT soon, according to Casey of Squared Circle Sirens on Twitter. Bordeaux worked a tryout at the Performance Center last month, and that apparently went well. There is no word yet, and if Bordeaux is expected to appear on NXT TV as soon as a contracted talent or as an enhancement talent. The report from Casey just noted that she is expected on NXT TV very soon, and that she has been training at the Performance Center in Orlando as of late. Bordeaux has worked for Impact, AAA, Ring of Honor, and other indie appearances. She appeared on WWE TV in 2014 and 15 as a Rosebud. She also lost a squash match to Nia Jax on December 26, 2016. Bordeaux was released from an Impact contract on June 18th of this year. In other news for the Performance Center, Casey noted on Twitter that there was no big PC classes scheduled to be announced until January of this next year. This class reportedly will be including a few big indie and international names that have been signed to WWE for a while, but had their start dates moved back a few times. Honestly, like Scarlett Bordeaux, I didn't see her wrestle much at all, but her entire smoke show gimmick in Impact Wrestling I didn't like. I know she's gonna not be able to do that gimmick in WWE because they don't cater towards that. But have you seen what she fucking looks like? Vince McMahon probably got one look at her and is like, put her on NXT TV and push her to the moon. She is hot. She is so smoking hot. Yes, Scarlett Bordeaux is probably going to be the next big over-push star in NXT. She'll probably be the Lacey Evans of NXT, where she doesn't have he's not there yet, but they're going to push her to the moon. It wouldn't surprise me if Shayna Baszler lost to Scarlett Bordeaux in some kind of tomfoolery fashion and lost the NXT Women's Championship to her. I'll have to see what she does before I make any judgment. For right now, there's nothing else I can say. Let me know what you think about Scarlett Bordeaux coming to NXT. Edge. Adam Copeland. Could he be making an in-ring return? The radio superstar reportedly has been cleared to return to the ring by WWE, according to a new report from Fight Oracle, who has broken several pro wrestling scripts over the years. Take this with a grain of salt, by the way. There's no word yet on when Edge will wrestle again, but he is medically cleared and under contract once again. It was noted earlier via the Wrestling Observer newsletter, Edge recently signed a new contract after negotiating with both WWE and AEW. So Edge, Adam Copeland, used AEW as leverage to get if this is true, take it all with a grain of salt. But he signed the contract by using AEW as leverage, which a lot of people are going to be using. This has led to receiving a significant offer from the WWE to stay. It was also reported earlier the idea of having Edge wrestle has been discussed very privately within WWE. Edge recently performed a spear on Elias at SummerSlam and was cleared for the move after years of not being cleared for anything. Edge, who turns 46 later this month, recently left his podcast with Christian, but Christian will keep it going. He noted on a recent show that he could do a WWE match, but likely would be blown up. He added that he believes WWE doctors will not allow it, though. Edge did come out last night and say, I am not, and no, I am not. Pretty much squashing, no, I am not cleared, and no, I'm not going to be, I don't have a contract with WWE. That could be true, or it could just be Edge doing what anybody else with their brain would do, and was like, yeah, I'm going to, like, his Edge is going to go out there and be like, yeah, I'm contracted, and I'm going to be wrestling a match soon. No. Edge is an old school guy. He's smarter than that. He's not going to sit there and be like, oh, yeah, I'm signed to WWE full time for a match or two. Come see me. No. Edge is going to do everything he can to deny it. So if it is true, he'll come out. It will be a big surprise. Oh my God, Edge is back. He's going to wrestle. Do I want to see Edge wrestle? No. I don't care how cleared he is. I don't care. The guy, I'm just saying, if it's true, if he's cleared, one bad bump still, and it could wreck him all up again, and then it's just like, well, that was it. The guy is 46 years old. We don't need to go to that nostalgia bag anymore. Edge falls under nostalgia because he hasn't been there, and he hasn't been wrestling. And he hasn't reinvented himself either. We don't need to see Edge coming back for sweet-sounding money. His wife works in NXT. If Edge wants to come work as commentator for somebody, if he wants to do something backstage, fine. But I don't want to see Edge wrestle. Let him. He has a daughter. I think they have one kid. If they have one or two kids, I know they have one at least. If they have one or two kids, he needs to worry about that, not wrestling again. His time as a wrestling star in WWE has been over for 8 years. Let's just leave it at that and put this to bed. I don't want to see Edge come back, period. Moving over here to some minor AEW news as we get on to the end of the show. AEW to bring back wrestling to TBS soon. Pro Wrestling is set to return to TBS soon. AEW will premiere their second TV show on TBS as part of their Sunday night lineup soon, according to Wrestling Observer newsletter. The program will be an edited highlight version of AEW on TNT show that airs the previous Wednesday. There's no word yet on when the AEW TBS show will premiere, but we will keep you updated. It was, as noted in late September, it was revealed that AEW was in talks for another TV show, which would be a studio show similar to the new WWE Backstage show that premieres on FS1. Warner Media's Brett Wirtz, who is the general manager of TNT, TBS, and Tribute TV, told the Vat that they were in talks with AEW officials about doing a studio show. The AEW Executive Vice President Cody Rhodes recently revealed that a third hour of AEW content was being considered. Rhodes indicated that they would film a third hour of content from the weekly shows, but the third hour would possibly air on BR Live instead of TNT. There's also no word yet on if they're moving forward with those plans. Until yesterday, Cody Rhodes announced AEW Dark. I like that name, AEW Dark. It will begin Tuesday, featuring dark matches that didn't air on AEW's TV show. The show will air on AEW's YouTube channel, hosted by Tony Schiavone. 4 dark matches took place this past Wednesday. Full results on those matches are on your local dirt sheets. Darby Allin faced Shima before the show went on the air. Afterwards, 3 matches took place. The first was Lucha Bros versus Jack Evans and Angelico versus Private Party and Best Friends. Britt Baker versus Ali versus Penelope Ford and Brie Priestley, followed by SCU versus Luchasaurus, Smoko Stunt, and Jungle Boy. In numerous interviews, it has made clear that the win-loss records will matter in AEW. A fan on Twitter asked if these dark matches will count towards wins-losses, and Matt Jackson responded, yes, everything counts, and it should be. If it shows up, here's the thing, if it shows up on TNT, PBS, or YouTube, and it's an official AEW sanctioned match, it should count. And I'm glad that they're going with that. Next Wednesday, we'll be headed with the Agnes Arena in Boston, Massachusetts. I can't believe I butchered that. AEW World Champion Chris Jericho and Sammy Guevara versus Dustin Rhodes and Hangman Page. Shawn Spears versus Jon Moxley and the Young Bucks versus Private Party in the AEW Tag Team Title Tournament. Now, that hasn't been announced yet. I don't know who's going to be in it. But during his media scrum, Tony Khan did say that there will be a match this coming Wednesday that will determine who Chris Jericho faces in Week 3, which, if you do know, Riho, who is the first women's champion, and Chris Jericho will be putting their titles on the line for the first time for AEW. Chris Jericho is obviously going to win. Will Riho win her match? I don't know. I honestly don't know. Because it could be one of those things that they gave it to her, and whoever she goes up against is just going to be just one step ahead of her, and it's a quick title match, which ain't title exchange, which I know doesn't seem like a good idea, but it depends on how they book it. It's going to be interesting to see what happens this coming Wednesday. Monday Night Raw, of course, we have Hell in a Cell coming tonight. There are 4 matches that are announced so far. I'm going with Becky Lynch I'm going with Sasha Banks over Becky Lynch. The Fiend over Seth Rollins. Rowan and Harper, the Bludgeon Brothers, over Daniel Bryan and Roman Reigns, because Daniel Bryan turns on Roman Reigns. And I'm gonna say Bayley over Charlotte, but I'm gonna have to say Charlotte over Bayley, because WWE is going to give Charlotte her 10th championship reign before the end of this year, and why not in October? But that is your Unscripted for this Sunday, October the 6th, 2019. We are getting so close to 100 episodes. We will have a different overlay or different layout and everything for episode 100 as we move forward. But hit that subscribe button, comment down below, like or dislike this video. Follow me on Twitter and Twitch at The France Club, and I'll see you guys tonight for Hell in a Cell. And then Monday for Raw. Tuesday night. I forgot to mention this. Tuesday night. We have our next match in Tuesday night free match. And it's going back all the way to 2002 to a match I have not seen, because at the time I did not have access to pay-per-views. The internet was not where it is today. And I was living in the middle of nowhere with my family, because I was only 12 years old. So I did not see this match. This one's going to be new to me. It is Kurt Angle versus Rey Mysterio from the opening of SummerSlam 2002. I've heard so much about this match. Probably one of the best openings in SummerSlam history. An early, young Kurt Angle, an early, young, less tatted up Rey Mysterio. I cannot wait. That is coming for you. Tuesday night free match. Rey Mysterio versus Kurt Angle. Now I'll see you guys tonight for Hell in a Cell. Monday for Raw, Tuesday for Tuesday night free match, Wednesday for AEW, Thursday for NXT, Friday for SmackDown, and Saturday for a break. Until then, my name is France, and I'll see you guys later.